And welcome, folks, to another edition, or I say another, like we've been doing these. Welcome to a
Special edition. There you go.
special edition of the Michigan Football Film Study, the first of the season. I don't know if it'll be the only of the season. This was a necessary one, made possible in part because of your great support. You guys have uh, been fervent supporters of our breakdowns all season. We appreciate you. You've come through with super chats.
Super
That
chats.
yeah, that's been great. We appreciate that. And we noticed a deep need,
The need.
a
There was a heavy need.
pressing
Heavy
uh
need.
there was this gap, Ira. I mean, Al, a void of
Void.
information
Yeah.
in the aftermath of this game.
Oh, yeah. We get that. We got that. Get some emotions going, Sam. They got some emotions going out there. We don't like that. We got it.
And so we
We can
said
fix it.
we had to come back with a film study.
Yeah, we did. We
Michigan
really did.
football film study focused on the offense. Al Borges and
I love it.
Al was like, he's been chomping at the bit.
Oh, Sam, I've been doing figurative backhand springs. Okay, not real ones, but in my mind, we need to get this thing, straight because you called me the other day and how I think there's a lot of stuff out there that's not, false narratives. I think we need to do a film study, and film study. That I love film studies. I'm in my element, so I am really fired up to do this. Really fired up, Sam.
Yeah, man. And it's necessary. I think we're going to correct some narratives. And some of it is not the fault of the fan. I give you a perfect example. They're in the red zone. Their crosses in the end zone, and Blackledge says, see, they're targeting the receivers. And there's this narrative coming out of the game. There's no targets to the tight ends in the game, and that was an example, for instance, where they weren't target. The receivers weren't the primary target on that particular play. The tight end was the primary target. We'll talk about this play during the film study. That's an example, for instance, where a fan isn't going to get that because they got not the right, got incorrect information from the broadcast,
Right.
as a for instance. But there can be some common misconceptions that are born of preconceived notions, of false narratives that are out there, and then are just born of just sheer emotion, just reaction. Emotion can color things improperly, right? We want to see the number one quarterback in the country, Al Borges, look like the number one quarterback in the country.
Lighten up the scoreboard. Yeah.
And if the number one quarterback in the country isn't looking like the number one quarterback in the country, well, damn it, it must be something going wrong with the play calling. And if the play caller is new and he did it a certain way someplace else, then it must be the head coach holding them back.
Yeah,
All these things must be going on, Al Borges.
You got all kinds of stuff out there, Sam. And I don't know, man. I've been in this boat, and everybody wants to have the solution, but the solution is what's happening between the lines. You got to study why things are happening, how the plays are being called, which plays are being under executed, which plays are actually bad calls, things like that. You got to look at it and you got to say, hey, this is what happened. This is what really happened. Not the emotion of getting sacked or throwing an interception. Oh, the guy's an idiot. What a bad, there's much more to it. And that's why we're doing this show. We're going to show you not every play, but enough plays to draw some intelligent recruiting conclusions at the water cooler. Now you'll know that Joe Schmatz is full of crap, okay? Because a lot of this stuff bears itself out, and you'll see that as we go through the video. What I believe is this, Sam, before we go on, what I believe is this, and as much as I'm quicker to defend coaches than others for obvious reasons, but I am rational about it. And I believe what's been done is, in this game particularly, is they did a great job of having a creative downhill run game, and it covered for their inefficiencies in the passing game. And that's good coaching. Say what you want. Say what you want. That's good coaching. 270-something odd yards rushing. Some some plays they had not shown before. 2 that scored touchdowns. Okay. a couple of big runs. That's coaching, because sometimes your passing game isn't always going to be great. Sometimes it's going to be reversed. Sometimes you're not going to run the ball as well, and then your passing game is going to have to make up for that. So I think it's unfair in some senses, but let's look at it and let people draw their own conclusions.
Yeah. So I guess my conclusion, if you want to call it that, as we head into this, because we've obviously reviewed the film already, and against the backdrop of the season, is that when your freshman quarterback is your best offensive player, there's inherently going to be some volatility that comes with that. There's going to be some up and down.
Absolutely. You'll see some of these videos. Yeah.
There's some up and down that comes with that because he's a freshman.
Yeah, he's 18. He's 18 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that just requires some patience.
Yeah, and I want to make another point on that. Okay, all these less than learned individuals that say, "Well, he's played 8 games now. He's not a freshman." BS. He has not experienced a full season of trial and error. There are going to be things that come up in every football game that is a learning experience and are game specific.
Right.
He is still a freshman. Okay, regardless of what anybody says, things come up in games under pressure that he has to respond to, that he has never had to respond to under that kind of pressure. So until he's experienced that entire season, he is still a freshman, and there's going to be things that you're not going to like.
Right. And so I say that to say, not to make excuses. That doesn't mean that there aren't things that he doesn't need to do better in game or game to game. But it does explain why he could look really good in one game,
mm-hmm.
and then the next game, everything that you saw, the game prior, you can see the very next game, some of the things he did well the game prior, he doesn't do those same things
mm-hmm.
as well
mm-hmm.
because he's a freshman.
Right.
There's going to be some ebb and flow, and you got to live through those ebbs and flows as they coach him through those ebbs and flows. And there's some things from a coaching perspective they're going to have to figure out how to do better. Sure there are. And we'll go over those as well. Let me emphasize that we do not own this footage.
We don't
own this footage.
Oh.
This footage was for your entertainment, education, and edification. Let's get into it, because one of the things that they did, as you adjust, you taught me the term battlefield decisions. What do you do when things aren't going right? Do you beat your head against the brick wall, or do you win the game? They made a battlefield decision. They made some very, very meaningful pivots in the run game that were consequential. All right, Al. So they had this play that first I thought it was a split zone. Then I saw a second guy coming around. I said, is that a counter? And it's, what is that play? And Bernard called it a split counter. And it's like, what did they call that play, Al? And I said, what is that? Did you have a name for it?
Well, I had one, but now I know what they call it. They call it a double slice. Okay. Now, a double slice, a slice block for them, okay, is really a split zone block where a guy goes back and blocks the first guy to show outside the backside tackle. They have a little nuance within the scheme that we saw a week ago that they also used once in this game, where the tackle can turn out and they can actually slice the 3 technique. We saw that last week several times and one time in this game. But when you do it with 2 dudes, they get into 13 personnel, which you're going to see here, and do it with 2 dudes. It's now what we call a double slice. So 2 guys are going back, okay? Now, this is the start of kind of a 3-play series that was very productive in this game from 13 personnel. The thing to understand about 13 personnel is whenever they got into it, MSU became very predictable. They were always an under G defense with the nose overshifted towards the bunch side, and they played cover 1 on the back end. So you kind of knew where the targets were going to be, which made things a little bit easier, okay? It's 13 personnel, double slice versus under G cover 1. That's all I just explained. The same front and coverage every time you got into 13 personnel, okay? So this is the play. Again, 1 slicer means just 1 guy's coming across the formation to kick out the end. 2 slicers means double slice. The other guy, which is Bredesen, is wrapping around very much like a counterplay to get the inside linebacker. Okay, let's look at how they target. Okay. Left tackle and left guard with inside footwork come across double the 3 to the backside linebacker. Okay, so that's not really pure zone blocking because they would be scooping to the front side to the Willie linebacker. Okay, so now what's the difference? Now they can really kick the crap out of that 3, hang on that block just a fraction longer to get some nice movement in there. Okay, same idea with the right guard in the center. They double the G or the nose guard. Okay, to the strong safety who's walked up into the box because the box is loaded with all those tight ends in there. They're thinking, stop the run, stop the run, stop the run, right? And now those 3 guys, look at the right tackle, he engages the 5 technique, and the tight end engages the stand-up guy, and the wide receiver engages a corner. So those 3 are basically locked up man-to-man, assuming that they've got their guy with nobody helping them inside, okay? All right. So now Hoffman goes in motion, and he's going to be the first slicer. He's going to get a little running start at it, come inside out, right off the butt of that left tackle. When he leaves on that double team, he's going to come right off and try and kick him out. Or if he forces a spill, he'll go ahead and log him or hook him, whatever. But he really doesn't want to do that. He wants to kick him out so that play hits inside. The second slicer, who's Bredesen, from his stationary element now, will pull very much like he does on a counterplay, okay? He's going to, what I call a wrap technique. Well, he'll wrap around, go opposite the block of Hoffman, okay? If Hoffman kicks him out, he's thinking he's going under, okay? For some reason, Hoffman doesn't. He may have to go around, although in this play, he really doesn't want to have to do that. He targets the weak inside linebacker, okay? So there's your double slice effect, all right? The back now reads it just like he would read a split zone, okay? He's going to attack that A gap until he can't anymore. He's going to shove that ball up in there, and if he sees color, he may buzz his feet and cut back. He may buzz his feet and pop out, which he does later on in a bluff play. We'll get to that later, but there's your look right there. Now, here's the thing about the double slice. It's really deceiving to the defense, Sam. And as we watch this, you'll see what I'm saying. When all those slicers go back, the second level of the defense, the Mike and Will linebacker, as well as the strong safety who's in the box, fall back towards the slicers. They fall back towards the slicers in anticipation that the play could be going that way. But this play is not designed to go back towards the slicers. This play is designed to hit right on track. So what happens is you get a softer core because of the deception of all that movement. You see what I'm saying? So those guys fall back. Now he just hits it right on track and it's a quick 8 yards. Okay.
Now this was a play. When I saw it, I was like, that's interesting. Now I don't know that we saw it another time in the first half.
I think this was the only time we saw it in the first half, but I think they ran it like 5 or 6 times in the second half.
In the second half.
When they started pounding them, this was the play. But understand, Sam, this is the mother play of a 3-play series. The double slice, because we're going to show you in a minute the plays off the play, the residual effects of this play, okay, which were much more productive.
Right. So it's they went in at halftime and they made some adjustments. They made adjustments in the run game, and this was one of them. This was one of the features. You talk about this series of plays that they went to that were, again, consequential. And this confounded Michigan State, and they started, we gotta squeeze this. We gotta squeeze this. They're pounding us with this play. And like you said, this was part of a series that every time Michigan went to it, they were getting positive yardage from it, right? So now let's add to the series.
Okay, here's play number 2, which is more deadly. Okay, and of course the game. This next play off the double slice scored 2 touchdowns. Okay, and let's look at why. So that when you see Joe Smots at the water cooler, you can tell him with certainty what happened. Okay. All right. Now, title of the play. Now they're going to show that. I think Todd was just showing you the bunch look. 13 personnel, same look on defense, Sam. Under G, cover one. Under G, cover one. Okay. Now, this is double bluff. Double bluff. Now, double bluff looks like, at least initially, what play? Double slice, right? So now the end is thinking, oh, here comes Hoffman at me again. I better squeeze this. They just pounded me for 7 or 8 yards a minute ago. I got to squeeze this thing. And now the linebackers, the second level of defense, might be a little slower to respond because the last play hit right on track and gain yards, right? You with me, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here goes Hoffman in that short motion. But what does he do this time, Sam? He pretends like he's going to block. I'll give that a minute. Okay. Everything else, other than the bluffers, looks the same. Everybody does the same thing. Double team the 3, double team the G, engage the 5 in a stand-up. Now this time, only thing is different is number 9, Goodwin, is now going to crack the first, second level defender, which in this instance is a Willie linebacker. Okay? Now, when he goes down to crack that dude, Sam, what's
question for you, Al, because just a little note for those of folks who watched the film study. We talked about the bluff last week against Washington that didn't hit.
Right? Corner receiver blocked the wrong guy, remember?
Receiver blocked the wrong guy. Mm-hmm. He went inside and he went to get the safety and left the corner free. That wasn't it was a bluff, but it wasn't a double. You went over the rules. It wasn't quite this same play.
Right.
It was a bluff. So it was not quite this same play.
But it was concept, right?
It was the same concept that they came back to, got Bryce on the edge. This receiver blocks the right man on this play. Now the edge guy the corner thinks he's free on this play. He ain't free, Al.
Okay. Let's see how that crack affects it. Okay. It's the crack block softens the flank in man coverage, right? So he'll temporarily chase the crack and try to force an exchange, although the safety's in center field. So who's he going to exchange with? You know what I mean? And if there's an exchange, it's going to be a late one. So you've softened the flank because the bluff play is designed to go outside, right? So you now have a soft edge, okay, just with that crack block in man coverage. All right, there's our bluffy, that which is being bluffed. Now, we know already from watching the last play, he's thinking squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Come down. Stop that play. Don't let him run that double slice right up our rear end. All right. So we take a look. We move on. And there's bluffer number 1. This is the first bluffer. Okay. This is Hoffman. He's going to pretend like he's going to block him on a slice, right? Just like he did. There he goes. He's going to bluff him. You can see the bluff. And then he's going to go get the corner who has been softened by the crackback. You with me, Sam?
So can you explain when that says bluff there, what does that mean?
That means he's going to pretend like he's going to slice block him. He's going to kick him out, right? Just like he did a minute ago in the play we just evaluated. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So everything kind of looks the same. It's what we call conflict. The end is conflicted. What do I do, man? Is this guy going to block me? Is this guy going to go? But he hasn't even seen the bluff play yet, Sam. So he doesn't really know. He's just thinking, what? It must be a slice. It's the formation they run slice from. It's the motion they run slice from. And the scheme looks just like slice because the tackle's blocking down. I got to squeeze.
Right. So explain. So be that guy. Be that edge guy. Hoffman's running at you. That 42 is running at you. You're that edge guy. I'm running at you full speed. Like it's that play. It could be, split zone action or that double slice action. Right. I'm running at your full speed like I'm going to block you. What's your posture? How are you?
My guess, again, he's got to squeeze it, so he's got to pop. He's got to slide down a little bit, and he's either got a box call, hoping that it gets kicked to the corner, but the corner's in man-to-man. Okay, so it's probably more likely a box call. If he spills it, they're in man coverage. You could have all kinds of issues, which is what's going to happen, right? So, but either way, he's got to come down and restrict that running lane. Okay. He's got to restrict that running lane, which gives up a soft flank because the corner is playing man to man.
So it kind of sucks them in. It inherently kind of sucks them in.
What it does, it pulls a really loaded box inside. The entire core of the defense is inside the tight ends. And now what's going to happen is because the guy squeezes it, you got two bluff blockers out there as personal escorts for the quarterback who's going to pull the ball because the guy squeezed it. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned on that one. Stay tuned on that one, because the next play we're going to show the next residual.
Right. So to the layperson out there, the effect of the play is Hoffman, by bluffing him, and he acts like he's going to block him. He takes the guy out of the play without even touching him.
Yeah.
And goes around him. And so he's a free blocker, and he takes a man out of the play without even blocking him.
Correct.
You see the effect of that? So you block the man without taking yourself out of the play as a blocker.
Right. Without even touching him, you've canceled him.
All right, next one.
Okay, bluffer number 2, who was last play, slicer number 2, but now he's bluffer number 2. He's going to wrap around, and he's going to kind of bluff him too. But instead of going inside, he's going to run into the alley and just see what shows up. On this play, he's kind of a bonus blocker, Sam, because he's really got nobody in particular to block. Okay, so he's the extra guy that you got. Here comes the back. Now the quarterback is going to read the defensive end, but be aggressive with the pull. Mm-hmm. So if the guy squeezes it all, that ball's coming out. Okay, where he would be more see what's happening if it was a basic zone read, but on a bluff zone, he's going to be a little more aggressive with the pull because he's got an escort in front of him. Okay, and in this case, the guy does squeeze, so Bryce pulls it. Oh, everybody's inside. Oh, Brad, look at Bradison just looking for, or in that case, it was Hoffman just looking for somebody to block. He just coasts into the end zone.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, this was schemed to the utmost.
Michigan State's like, what the hell? What the hell, man? They're giving us
bluffer, the bluffy, Sam, the bluffy, and then we have, of course, the bluffer. And then we have two bluffers, two twice as nice. This is twice as nice. Twice as nice off the slice. There's a great little deal right there. We'll use that.
So what if the corner doesn't leave in man-to-man?
We don't care. We got a guy for him anyway. We got Hoffman for him anyway. Yeah, it doesn't. Hoffman's assigned to him. Okay, it's not like we don't have a target for him.
Yep. That's right.
So it shouldn't make that much. It just makes it easier if the flank is softer, and that's one of the disadvantages of playing man coverage. Every time you see the same look, okay, because now you can't get crack exchanges as easy. You can't add one more safety to the equation where you're forced to block another dude. It was just a matter of not being in the best look to deal with that play.
Right. All right. So
let's watch a show play, Sam.
Yeah. So let's give them another bluff. So they're killing Michigan State with this series now, right? Oh my God. It's like in the second half of the game, Michigan State just kept just body blow. Still, Michigan State, they used to say we were hitting Michigan with these body blows. Now they are getting busted in the gut with this series of plays, and they really had no real answer, Al Borges, for how to contend with it for the entirety of the second half of this game.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Michigan, and unfortunately for them. So here you go.
Okay, now let's watch. This is show play. We didn't draw it because we've already drawn it. We showed it to you. Now, what happens here? What happens? This time, this is a bluff play. This is the double bluff. The same thing. Again, we drew it, so I'm not going to draw it again. But what happens is the core or the outside. See, at the ends now, he's up the field. He's scared he's getting bluffed, so he's trying to slow that down. Right, Sam?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to keep from getting bluffed, so he blows up the field. Bryce says, "Oh, I'm not going to pull that. Why would I pull that? I'll hand it to him this time." The corner starts to chase Hoffman in motion. See that?
Mm-hmm.
And leaves the flank wide open. Okay? I believe it's Klein and Frazier do a good job of pinning their men. The outside linebacker and the safety get pinned. And now in man coverage, again, you got a soft flank.
Right.
But this is a residual of trying to stop the double bluff.
Right.
The end is up the field. Everybody's kind of doing the same thing. They're falling back to the slicers, the second level. You can see the linebacker say they're falling back towards the slicers because they've been bluffed. See them all move? Nobody is in the perimeter.
Yeah, look how ready they are. Look how ready they think they are for Bryce on this play.
Absolutely.
Look at him. Look at him. Oh, we're ready. We're ready for 19. We're ready for 19.
Sam, why would you get that grosser reaction with the ball going to the left? And that's 2 walk-in touchdowns because the core of the defense got sucked inside by all the confusion of the movement.
Yeah, got him leaning. And they're like, see? So, I mean, that was, when you hear people talk about Al scheming, they're always talking about the pass game. They don't associate scheming with the run game. This was excellent scheming.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I always said the real genius is the guys that can figure out how to run the football with lesser players. And that takes some really, really a lot of ingenuity. You know what I mean? And Michigan certainly has that. Right. Sam, can we call it audible here? Can you go to play 12?
You want to go all the way to the end?
Yeah, the 12 play 63.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because I was thinking during the game, I even tweeted this. They're gonna play pass at some point. Now it didn't come up on the play that we're about to show, but because you want to talk about a play pass off of this action,
the double slice, right
off the double slice. Now.
We weren't going to show this till later, but I'm because we're our juices are flowing here, right. Sam, and I know everybody watching this is going, okay, what's next? Right. What's next? Okay, so this is next.
Yeah, you got to play pass off of that, right? Of course you do, because Michigan State is like, holy, you know what?
Yeah,
they're killing us.
There's some curse words coming out of their mouth.
I mean, every which way they're getting us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting busted up the gut. We're getting to the left, to the right. I mean, every which way but loose. They're killing us with this action. Al Borges you can hear the swear words.
Oh, I know. And those Michigan State guys, they like to cuss. They cuss more than I do. That's hard to do.
I mean, and so if you're Michigan, you're like, we gotta get them on a play pass.
Yeah.
We gotta get them on a play pass. Well.
Here is the final play in a 3-play series, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The truth be told, probably won them the game as much as any offensive thing that they did.
Yeah, and a play that wasn't given the attention it probably should have gotten on the broadcast.
No. And you're going to see. And this didn't work. But I want you, the people out there, to see why it should have, okay? Again, some plays are over-defended. Some plays are under-executed, okay? This play was under-executed, okay? Let's take a look now. This is going to be, and again, we telestrated this, is play action, max protection, double slice action. And I called it Y sneak because the tight end kind of blocks a little bit to make them think it's a run and then sneaks right outside the hash, okay? All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh my, that looks a lot like the slice or the bluff, okay? Only these dudes ain't going downfield, but they're really engaging the same guys, Sam. They're blocking the same dudes. And as long as they make that thing look and sound like a run, they'll get a bite because they've run the play enough. Defense can't help himself at this point. Okay. All right. So we get the short motion by Hoffman again. We get Bradison coming back on the slice look. We get Hoffman coming back on the slice look. And we got seven guys blocking for the pass. Okay. I think that Goodwin's nothing more than a deep play on this. He's just running that corner out. And then Klein is going to engage that stand-up, and as soon as Bryce goes into fake, up comes the corner. He goes, and he almost looks like he's blitzing, but I don't think he is. He's just trying to get involved because they haven't been able to stop that run. So he comes running up in there and singles up Klein on that outside guy who's peeking back looking for a run. And then he just sneaks right outside the hash about 3 or 4 yards, and he is 5 yards behind the defense.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can see the early vestiges of it, but it is. Look at that.
If you saw the all 22, you'd go crazy.
Like, oh my.
Yeah, you say this was the nail in the coffin. This play. This would have.
So you get an early glimpse there.
Yeah.
You get an early glimpse there. Yeah. But see, here's an issue. So this is max protection. Borges.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see all the dudes staying in there. Now, okay, this is what I believed happened. Okay, it's what I believe happened. It was a new ad meaning a new play for the game. A new, one pass play in that series with a freshman quarterback. Okay, and I've had this happen, so I can relate to this. And you add a new play, okay, and you run it one time in a game, okay, and the quarterback forgets which way the primary receiver is. I think this is what happened. And again, I'm projecting this. And he started to look towards Goodwin when the guy they really wanted to hit was Klein. Okay. So 18 years old, fired up about the play, I think just got a little confused and didn't look the right way. Again, I've had guys do it, particularly young guys, and it's a new ad play. It's not a play they run all the time. It was a dagger play. It was a play designed to put a dagger in your heart, and it just this is just an under-executed play. And
so not a dagger concept. Not a dagger concept.
Not a dagger concept. No, this is just a dagger to the heart. Okay, they were trying to knock him out on this play. They're trying to knock him out on this play, and the best laid plans sometimes aren't everything.
Yeah, I was speculating on the Monday morning quarterback that maybe he was trying to look off the defense somehow, but you've since found that that's not the case. New play, and yeah, like you said, freshman, and this is one of those freshman things.
Yes, and that was good pass protection. Just FYI for all you people that might not think it was. There was a nice passing pocket to throw the football in.
Yeah,
that could have been laid out.
And the scenario that a couple games ago, the exact scenario you say, Sam, you said max protection, right? And then the next game against USC, max protection, crossers, touchdown. I was like, yeah, hallelujah. And so they maxed it up right here. This is the comfortable scenario that you're looking for. And you got a guy, this is as wide an open guy you're ever going to see. He was 5. He was literally, I mean, you see the early part of it right here. He gets, this is what, 3 yards. He gets 5 yards behind this guy.
Okay, but now look, Sam, look at the effect that it had on the defense. He made the fake, and every defender moved up other than the backside corner. Okay? Every guy is within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and the safety isn't, but he started to, and then realized, he pulled it out. And he starts back now, but he's certainly not in center field yet.
Yeah.
But you can see how a play like that can have such a gross effect on the reaction of the defense.
Yeah, and so people say the tight ends weren't targeted. That's a tight end. That's a tight end play. Target on the play.
Yeah. The tight ends were actually targeted quite a bit. I had them. They just didn't get the ball for whatever reason. Okay, right. But they actually were
exactly.
Quite a bit.
Exactly. So you gotta actually watch the game. I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about the people that you listen to who say the tight ends weren't targeted. They gotta actually watch the game to know whether
And
they
they
were
got to,
targeted
and
or
too, Sam, they got to know the intent of the play, the intent of the call, the intent of the quarterback. Are they intending to throw the ball to the tight end? And you have to be educated enough to know that. And some people just aren't. They just see it doesn't go to him, and they say, "Oh, wow, they're not targeting the tight end." Well, that's not always true.
That's not always true. Not always true. And that was a very, very vivid example. And I'm telling you,
There's other ones.
that play, there are other ones in that game, but that play, I wouldn't run it. Just keep it in your back pocket. I'm not running that play again for a while, Al Borges.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never called plays. I told you some
Thank God.
weeks ago. I'm running a trap. I told you some weeks ago. Now I would have run it against you. Yeah, I said trap is going to work against USC. They didn't run against USC. Trap worked in this game, Al Borges.
Oh,
Coming up.
Sam. Ooh.
We aren't
This
getting to it
one
yet.
Moses raised his staff and opened the Red Sea. Okay, as you will soon see.
Let's stick with what we were talking about tight ends being targeted, though, because people said tight ends aren't being targeted. Tight ends aren't being targeted. Tight ends were targeted in this game. So the play that I talked about earlier, how fans were led astray on one play where they said, hey, receivers, he went for the crossers. He was targeting receivers on play. That was actually a play where he was looking for the tight end. So let's go to the Y hide play.
The Y hide play. Oh, the Y hide. This play's been in football forever. We ran it when I was at Michigan, not to mention every other place I was. It is a goal line play designed to get the defense to run and lose the tight end in man or zone coverage. Now, what they do here, they're going to motion. We didn't telestrate it, so we're just going to have to explain it. We're going to motion the slot across, who's going to shoot into the flat behind the outside receiver, okay? And he's the first look for the quarterback. If he sees that pop clean, he can shoot it to him real quickly, which you can see he's looking over there. And he actually has it, but it's going to be, it might be a little tight. And I used to tell the guy on this play is unless the slot is big, if it's not ridiculous, don't throw it because the hide's probably going to win, okay? So if you got the flat and it looks like a gimme, take it. I've had guys do it, and the hide never even developed. But what happens here is he's looking to it, gets off it. You can see the guy chasing him is a little behind him and has to run around the point man. You see that? Mm-hmm. So usually that's a scenario to throw it, but he doesn't, which is fine. Now what happens? The tight end's going to block down and he's going to kind of hold there. 1, 2, 3. Get everybody running with this sprint. And then I'm going to sneak to the other side about a yard inside the end zone. And nobody's going to be covering me, hopefully, because the guy who has me, if it's man-to-man, gets lost in all the stuff, thinking I'm not going out for a pass. Okay. You can see it from the sideline now. They got crossers, but really they're not. They're part of it. If it's zone defense, they could get it. But this isn't zone defense. Or it's not a pure zone defense. Let's just say that. And so they're just kind of end up decoys on this, all right? But the tight end gets hung up. He gets hung up. And now Haynes has to block that edge and give Bryce a chance to see if that tight end clears, but he misses the block. Oh, he misses the block. Oh, he misses. Now the guy's up Bryce's butt. But you can see the tight end clears. You can see on the screen there, he's open there. But by that time, he's feeling harassed, okay? And he starts to run and ends up throwing the ball in the end zone incomplete. But the intent of this play was to get the ball to the tight end on the hide route unless the flat route was a gimme right away. Where the cross could have come into the equation is had they played zone and somebody got lost in there governing the crossing routes. But they don't very often get the ball on this play. It's usually the flat or the hide.
All right, so let's talk through this play really quickly. Like Blackledge was talking about, he drew the crossers and not the intent of the play. So let's talk about the consequential pieces. 17 and 22. All right. Yeah. So he got hung up on this play.
Okay, now let me
And
explain.
there's a lot of
components
traffic
there.
in
Yeah. You got a lot
now,
of components.
Borges. So now, I mean, what's the technique to not get caught up in all that wash? Because there's a lot of wash to get through. And then for Haynes, it's just a matter of it seems like it's just a matter of him just staying on his feet.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Okay. And this is a little dicey. Can you play it back just a beat, Sam? Just a little tiny bit right before they. Yeah. Okay. There you go. That's perfect right there. Now, all right. The tight end is hiding. Now, he knows that he's got to engage that guy over the tackle, right? But with him that far inside and a man outside him, there's a chance that guy could be blitzing outside. I don't believe he does that here, but he doesn't really want to cross the guy. He'd rather hit him and just kind of shove him into the C gap, okay? Rather than try to cross him and then you just get hung and never get out, okay? So step with your inside foot, put your hand placement and hat placement on his outside and try to just kind of wash him into the hole, let him pass you, okay? With this instance, I think Klein tried to actually cram it inside him and he just got flattened so much he never got out, okay? Or when he got out, he was out of the vision of the quarterback. Yes, he was open late, but by that time, Bryce had to flush. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see he's just not there. Now he's there. But Bryce is on the run. Okay.
Right. But if Haynes was able to stay on his feet and actually block that guy, he probably could have got it.
And it's not a good matchup, Sam. But what he has to do is, get his ass kicked with dignity, right? Get in there and block him enough. Because that's a bad matchup, okay? Just be clear on that. Enough so that Bryce can see the hide. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to kill him. Just block him enough so Bryce can see the hide. See, you can see Bryce is looking there right now. Look, you can see the wings are starting to go back to the hide, but it just doesn't look good right now. And now the next thing is the rushers in his face. So he's going, I got to get the hell out of here, right? Well, the hide opens up, but by that time he's out of profile and he's in the scramble mode. So,
yeah. Yep. So again, another tight end target, but couldn't get to it for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Now, an experienced quarterback, a real experienced quarterback, are you with me, Sam? Mm-hmm. Might try to ascend, start backing up, knowing that rusher's in his face, and see if he can't buy a beat for that tight end on the hide to clear. Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Bryce is really ready for all that. And then throw it, and if it's not open, just throw it over his head. But if it's wide open, if it is open, you buy a beat to try and drop the ball over the top. So that's another thing. Again, these are all woulda, coulda, shoulda stuff. All right, but the crux of the play, we explained why the play failed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very next play was indicative of an issue for most of the game. I mean, you saw it really. I think his first completion. Saw a nickel pressure. I believe it was a nickel pressure that got through.
Right.
So, yeah, we talked to Denard on the Monday Morning Quarterback about who handles turning a protection. Is it your center or is it your quarterback? And he said, it's your quarterback. He said, your center is not going to be able to see that. He said, and it was something that I really didn't really pick up until my sophomore year. Is learning to turn the protection. And he said, this is something that right now, this part of it, Bryce is going to have to pick up because Michigan State, you talk about things that Michigan picked up in this game and they kept beating Michigan State to death with that double slice and the double bluff. Well, Michigan State was beating Michigan to death with their nickel pressure.
The nickel pressure. Yeah, it was good for them. It was good to them. And again, if you don't have answers to it, there's going to be sharks in the water, right? They're going to see blood and they're going to keep using it. So, but there are answers to it. But again, with a young quarterback, there's some growing pains. Okay. Now just show it right to Sam. Go back if you would. Just show before with the wide angle. All right. In this instance, I believe the huddle call was to turn the center left. Okay. Now, whenever the center is turning away, the back has to first check inside out because the center isn't turning towards the Mike linebacker, okay? So the three blockers are blocking left. The back has inside out, Mike to nickel. That's his job, okay? You with me so far, Sam?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's show it. Show what happened.
So the mic is in the middle, and the nickel is on the right to give
Is
you
on the right over the top of the point man. Okay. So now with the protection turned left, if they bring two guys off the right, that ball's got to come out. Okay, you got to throw hot, but you don't want to have to throw a hot. Okay, we'll throw a hot, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But we'd rather plug that protection. We'd rather plug it, meaning we'll set the protection to the four-man side and handle all those rushers so the quarterback can go through his read progression. Okay, all right, let's look at it now. We just saw that the Mike and the nickel came, and Hayes could only get one of them, right? Okay, but again, as he becomes more experienced and understands and sees, he's going to see that the pressure can only really be coming from the right. Right, Sam? It's going to only be because it's not the corner is not going to blitz because there's no one over the top to cover the X, and it's unlikely this tight to the end zone that they're going to do that anyway. So we know with the position of the corner and no safety over the top, the corner is no threat. So where's all the threat, Sam?
To the right.
To the right. We can see that the nickel is over the point man, and there's two people behind him, okay? Which tells you there's a good chance one of them's got Marsh, and the other one's got McCulley, which means the nickel's coming, okay? So what do? You got possible turn right. Possible turn right. Now, how would we do that, okay? Quarterback goes, whatever word you use, I don't know what they use, Ringo, or lucky if it's left, whatever, I don't know. So he makes the call, and now the center, rather than turn left and target the inside linebacker on the weak side, he now turns right and targets the Mike. Him and the guard, the Mike linebacker, as you see there. Yes, those two have those two. The right tackle bobs, which means big on big. He stays on the end, as does the left guard and the left tackle. They're all bobbed up, big on big, right? So now with the Ringo call or the right call, whatever you want to call it, that now puts Hayes on the nickel. We got them all capped. Right? So now if they bring that nickel blitz, we can pick them all up. But Hayes has got to know, that there's always a possibility it could be a mirage. Because this is what defensive guys will do to you sometimes. They'll give you the appearance of an overload blitz and get your attention off all that, and then bring somebody, maybe a single pop with the inside linebacker on the weak side. So now once Hayes sees the nickel didn't come, his eyes will come right back and take a quick peek to make sure the number two guy there, the weak inside, doesn't come. And if nobody comes, boom, he's out in a route. It's not likely they're going to bring the nickel with the weak inside. That blitz is almost non-existent. And if they do something like that, it's usually a zero blitz where you can see that everybody's coming. Okay? So simple enough. It's all basic maths, Sam. It's not that class you took that
differential equations out. Differential equations.
Now, that's way more complicated than this. There's four dudes to the right with a potential blitz scenario based on the back end of the defense. Let's get our blockers to the right, and we'll pick them all up.
Yeah. If that's what he takes from that game, if that's a residual from this game, if he can turn the protection, and Denard made, I think, a brilliant point about how to help him. How do you get him comfortable? Because I was under the impression like, hey, give him some go-to plays. That's how you get a quarterback comfortable. I don't know, Al. I've never coached. Like, you get him comfortable with go-to plays. Well, there were 16 RPOs and he threw one. I was like, well, hell, if you can't get him comfortable, give him the RPOs. I don't know.
That's usually been a go-to play, though, right?
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you can't get him comfortable, give him the RPOs. I don't know what you do. And Denard said, I got comfortable, and you can't get him comfortable in max protect. And that wasn't the only element in that equation. What do you do? He said, well, I got comfortable when I learned where the pressure was most likely to come from. And I learned that when I learned protection, when I learned how to turn the protection.
Yeah. And we dealt with that more than they did in the past. So it became something he knew he had to learn. You know what I mean? He just to keep from getting hit. So and again, for a young 18-year-old quarterback, that's a slow mechanic to come sometimes. You know what I mean? For a guy more experienced, they yawn at it. I got it. The guy's coming from over here. And if he's not, they're just trying to BS me. That's coming there. You just can't fool a guy that's played a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Played a little bit and can handle that. But this kid's still, he's a work in progress as we go.
Well, we talk about RPOs being a go-to play. There's another go-to play for him, and they did go to it in this game, Al, and he came through. You want to make sure that we got that in this game, and so here we are with it.
Yeah, this was and again, 5 times I counted where the receivers were covered.
But they were covered on this
They
play.
were covered, yeah. Where there was really no immediate option for the quarterback, nor was there a really good option on a check down. This is one of them. Now, this play is what we call a drive route, which is a shallow cross to the field, and it just so happens they're also digging the Z receiver on this, and a hooking route into the boundary, which Bryce has hit several times. This is a go-to. He likes this play, and because he's good at it. But it just so happens on this play, they roll the corner, what they play we call cover 6, which is a quarter half coverage, where they're basically doubling the X receiver. So the guy he wants to throw to just doesn't look good, and he never gets back to drive because I believe the protection wouldn't allow it. So this is just we put this on there because we said Michigan State did do a good job at times of covering. But you look at that, there's nobody really good to throw that ball to.
Yeah, he got covered. He got coverage and pressure.
And pressure. I believe we lose on the left side. They up and under on Frazier, and he's just feeling a lot of heat in there. So he's kind of running for his life and living to play another play.
Yeah. Yep. So
yeah, they coach too now. They coach too. So sometimes, it's not always we're screwing up. Sometimes they're doing a good job, and that's one of those plays that they did.
'Tis true. But there are, there were some in here.
Oh, this was pretty, yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, this was pretty. This is slide naked with the post wheel combination outside. Okay. Nakeds are good for Bryce. He's really good at these plays. All right. They're going to slide that tight end across. They're going to run a post with the outside receiver and wheel Marsh. The flat defender sees the slide, freezes a little bit, and Marsh runs right by him, and he sticks it right in that hole.
A question for you, though, Al. This was a great throw. This is a great throw. Great throw under the circumstances.
Absolutely.
What do I mean by that? Because, there was some commentary on, wow, man, if Bryce throws a better ball here, there's a lot of green grass in front of Marsh, and there is. I mean, it looks like it could have been an even bigger play if there is an even better ball. But consider the circumstances. There's a guy bearing down on Bryce right here, so just put the ball on him as best you can, which is what he did. How? I mean, they're just not getting as gross a reaction to the naked action here as I would expect. And I talked to Denard about this, and I said, Denard, why aren't they getting as hard a jerk on this play, on this action? I mean, you think getting under center would make a difference? What do you think about that, Al?
Yeah, I found naked boots under center get grosser reactions because the fakes are longer. You actually, in pistol, you basically take a 1-2, show the ball, and get out. When you're under center, you take 4 quick steps towards the stretch fake, which while you're taking those fakes, those steps, the defense is taking those steps. So it jerks them a little bit more and pulls you away from the defensive end, who usually is unblocked. Okay. So it has a twofold deal to it. It helps you get the ball off, and it jerks the defense better if you want to throw a second level throw in behind the linebackers, which on naked bootlegs comes up constantly. Okay. Yeah. Now there's other advantages to pistol too. Number one is comfort level for the quarterback now. Okay. And he's not a guy who's played a lot under center. So I think if you gave him an option, he'd say, put me in a pistol. But it may not be the very best way to do it, but it may be the most comfortable for him. So you just got to decide where the rubber meets the road on that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. So you talk about comfort for the quarterback. I mean, like I said, RPOs, run controls. This is his comfort zone. Like he reads, he is such a high percentage player as a freshman. Is why they trust. Why they call so many. You trust him to run it right. Like Denard said, man, I used to cheat those a little bit. It's like I'm gonna ride it super long. Sam, I admit that. I want to throw that.
Yeah, I could always tell when his brain wasn't working right because he wanted to prove he was Dan Marino.
Yeah, yeah. But Bryce, man, Al, I bet you he's batting in the 900s on RPOs.
Oh yeah, no, he's coming into this game. He was solid as a rock. For some reason, they just didn't get thrown, and that hurt the passing numbers. Believe me, big. Last week, Sam, he hit 5 passes off RPOs for over 9 yards a pop. This week, he threw one, and it was incomplete.
Yeah,
so there was
one of the viewers on the Monday Morning Quarterback in to give evidence to this is proof of the conservative game plan. They didn't call any wide receiver screens. I think he was talking about bubbles because they threw some wide receiver screen. Michigan State covered the wide receiver.
They called 2 wide receiver screens.
Right, and they snuffed those really well. They covered those really well. But he was talking about bubbles. They didn't call any. The run controls were in there.
Oh yeah, they were all over the place. Yeah,
they just weren't thrown in this game. And Bryce is a really, really good RPO guy as a freshman. That is not hyperbole.
And why, Sam? Why do you suppose that is?
Because he ran them in high school.
It's a comfort level. It's definitely a comfort level.
Right. That's not, patting him on the back too much. Like he does that at a really high level. And if he's not throwing those in this game when he's here, I think that's just a sign of, man, he is just not in this comfort zone in this game. And this is just this play that you put on here, Al, is just one example. See, this is an example of him not being comfortable.
Yeah, there were 3 or 4 of these where the ball really should have gone outside. Again, 16 RPOs, only 1 throw. 30 times the ball was run without an RPO tag, most of that later in the game when they were pounding them with double slices and stuff. But that's really what the distribution. But 16 RPOs gives you a chance to compile a little passing yardage. Well, this to me was kind of obvious. And it was a good run. I think it was a counter play.
Yeah, you missed it because he got a first down.
Yeah, no, it was, and nobody says, oh, it should. But really, the you can see if you freeze it, Sam, at the beginning, you'll see that nickel is tucked way into the box. See him? And the safety is playing deep, okay? Yeah. If he pulls it and throws the bubble, he outflanks the nickel by a mile. Yeah. And he's got, I believe it's McCulley on that corner, and you got nothing but green grass out there. It probably would have gained more than even the counter did. Okay,
yeah, it might get a touchdown, maybe.
Yeah, this was a golden opportunity, I believe, in quarters coverage to throw the bubble. And again, and look at how hard that nickel bites when they hand off the counter.
Yeah, that's why I said it might get a touchdown.
Yeah, so that's a chance, and that's
Andrew Marsh. So it literally might get a touchdown.
Yeah, you got a run after catch guy out there. So that was a chance right there. Again, people ask, well, why wouldn't passing numbers better? This is one reason. It's not the only reason, but it's one reason. We pointed out some of the others.
Yeah. So again, a quarterback who he does this well. This is his thing, and if he's not doing his thing, it's just as a play caller, when your guy just isn't feeling it, you gotta figure it out. Mm-hmm. You gotta figure it out as a play caller, even when you got a veteran guy that's not on. Let alone a freshman that's not on, you better figure out a way to win the game. So when people say, well, why are you running the football? I got a freshman quarterback that's not on. You better, let's figure out what's going to work today. We aren't going to get caught up in trying to get stats. We're going to get caught up in trying to be pretty. Let's figure out what works today. And what's working today is running the football. We aren't going to totally abandon trying to pass the football, but we are going to lean heavy on running the football, especially when they can't stop it. And they came out of the gate in the second half with this play, Al Borges, and you said parting like the Red Sea.
Oh God, yeah, this was really good call. Now, when you got into 11 personnel, okay, now let's talk about that too. They ran their personnel distribution was 38, I believe 30. Let me make sure I got this straight. They were in 11 personnel 36 times. They were in double tights or more. 12 and 13 personnel 36 times. But in the second half, they started the second half in a little more 11 and finished the second half in a little more 12 and 13. Okay. Because again, they started wiping RPOs off and start pounding the Spartans a little bit, where now it's still game was 10-7. It was still, in the bout. So the first thing they hit them with was a cool little deal, a trap to the three technique. Now this play is a trap play, old school trap play, goes back to 30s and 40s. Okay. And they're going to run this wherever the three technique is. Now they kind of play their three technique a little tighter than most three techniques. So there's a little nuance you got to use to get this thing run. Okay, there's the three technique right there. He's snuggled down there pretty good. They are blowing up the field pretty good, so this could have a chance. When you go into 11, you got a more chance of getting a 4-2 look, which is what you'd love to trap. You don't really want to trap a 3-4 as much as you'd like to trap a 4-3. And in this case, it's actually a 4-1 because Samaj Morgan moves out and the linebacker loosens up. So you got a beautiful box to run this play in. The left guard, because of that tight three, not just going to release inside on the backer because the guy will just squeeze with him if you do. Even if he's upfield a little bit, he'll have time to come down and trap the trapper and squeeze the hole. So he kind of jab steps him outside to set him up a little bit, thinking it may be maybe his own play, and then ducks underneath to get the mic. The center and the right guard basically scissor block. The center seals back on the 2-eye, and the guard pulls and traps that three technique that's been set up by the guard. Okay. If the three technique was the other way, they would flip it, Sam, and run it the other way. The back would probably switch sides and they'd run it the other way. So they got the ability to opposite the call if they need to. The right tackle, left tackle, and tight end all block man to man, basically protecting the inside gap so the play gets started. Okay. And that's that simple. It's that simple. And the play hits. Oh my God! If we get Samaj out of the way here, we got a big one here, But for some reason, Samaj ran in there. I like to see Samaj dig out that backer or RPO. Maybe run a little bubble and loose them a little bit one way or the other. But since they didn't, that's fine too. And I'll take 20 yards. 20 yards is a good game.
Hey,
but I'd rather they tackled us than us.
Yeah, Hayes is like, I'm about to score, man.
He about killed Samaj. Samaj bounced off him like a cartoon character. That was
I thought you were talking about after the play.
Oh, yeah, that too.
He got up.
Where'd you come from?
He got up Steven mad.
Yeah. Lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way, right?
He's hot. He's like, I was going to have another long touchdown, damn it. Oh, man. Let's end it. Let's end it, Al, because we got to get over to the this is when we're about to record you. By the time you see this, we will have done our live breakdown. But let's end it on a high note with young Bryce, because I think they're going to emphasize the pass game, prioritize working the pass game versus Purdue. Because you gotta work some things. You got to get that back on track, right? And so he does the flood well.
He does. Oh yeah, this was sweet, very nice. Now I want you to really study all the components of this. You get a flop with the tight end, just to mess with their force and their coverage a little bit. Motion him back. He takes the backside again. It's max protection. Max protection. Everybody's turning back, and you've got the outside receiver running what I call the take one, where you drive the corner deep into the inside. The inside receiver, who's Marsh, is going to run up the field, last 5 yards vertical, and break to the corner. And after the fake to Haynes, The flat defender kind of pauses for a second and gives up that outside hole. And Bryce just drops that ball in there so nice with good pass protection. This is extremely well executed. And again, good protection. Great play to attack the coverage. Quarters is not an easy coverage to cover flood routes on. It's just not. Because it's basically the flat defender's either got to eat up the flood or the safety's got to come out off the near hash.
Yeah.
But when he does that, he singles up the outside receiver. So you would alert the outside receiver, see if he blows by the guy. But you really think hit the corner or check it down. And he could have checked that ball down to Hayes and got a big gain too. Both options.
So, moral of the story is, look, he's a freshman. He's a freshman behind a line that is going through its own growing pains. So he's going to catch some heat. But it's, it isn't giving him as much heat as maybe he was getting earlier in the season, but he still does get heat, right? And so learning to navigate that is something that is a work in progress. And there's an ebb and flow that comes with dealing with a freshman quarterback. I think as fans and then as coaches that they gotta deal with, Al, and that we gotta watch them, that we gotta be patient with. I think is the lesson that comes with this.
Yeah, see, you got to understand. That's why I made the point earlier. He is a freshman quarterback. No, just because he played 8 games, he's not a freshman. I don't want. That's a bunch of bull. That's what that is. Because you have to experience all the game-specific scenarios as a freshman, so that when you're not a freshman anymore, you can yawn at him, you can giggle at him. Because some of these things you're seeing Bryce not do as well, maybe not turn a protection or whatever. It's going to be seamless to him when he's done it for a while, played a whole year, gone through a spring football, and started. You'll see a different quarterback. I'm just telling you. In a year, you'll see a different quarterback. Right now, he's depending on being, force-fed some stuff. They're not giving him so much he can't handle, and dealing with some very difficult scenarios, having to play on the road against some really good teams, high expectations. This guy's a 5-star quarterback, best quarterback. That's all nonsense now, okay? That doesn't complete passes or score touchdowns. He's now got to go through the experiences that make him a better player at the position. And that's not going to happen overnight. This next game, there'll be a new batch of scenarios that may fool him and that you'll try your best to circumvent and coach. But when the lights go on, things happen. Battlefield starts, when people start moving and everything kind of changes. The pressure's on and you got to experience that to get good at that. And I think this kid's composed enough. He'll be great. But know what you're dealing with. And this is what I think the fan base is losing sight of. Oh, we got the best quarterback in the country. We should win every game. The best quarterback in the country is 18 years old. Okay. He is still figuring some things out. And to be honest with you, he's doing a damn good job with what he's done. But there's more to do.
So misconception number one, to kill that, they did target the tight ends.
Yeah, I had them with 5 targets. They just didn't. Some of them they didn't get to him, because it's all things we talk about, protection issues.
Yeah, they didn't eliminate bubble screens in this game. Those were still in the offense. So there was more meat on the bone. They didn't. There was a shot play that wasn't thrown in the game that was there. So it's these are things that I think are going to, develop. And some things I think are going to come back into focus versus Purdue. Like I think he'll get right back on track with RPOs. I think that comes right back. I would like to see them try some under center. He did it a little bit, some play action under center. He did it earlier in the season. I would like to see them try some more of that because I think it will elicit some more gross reactions from the defense.
No question. And if you listen to Denard bugged me about this when I coached him. He liked going under center some. He says, because he did in high school all the time. Now, Bryce hasn't, and let's remember that. But Denard had certain plays that he wanted to go under center because he felt he could time routes better and make better fakes. I just remember the conversation that we had. I used to get criticized. What are you putting him under center for? I go, well, you're not in the meetings and you don't know, okay? But he liked that, and no one was more of a shotgun quarterback than Denard Robinson now. He was built for that type of action, but even he felt that there was some advantages to going under center.
Yeah, and then I would hope that turning, the basics of turning protections is something that they tackle. You gotta, I imagine you got to be careful with how much you add to his plate week to week. But I think that's one you probably got to prioritize because it's a copycat game, and with the success that Michigan State had with their nickel pressures, that's going to be something that they see.
No
And
question.
So
and they do coach that now, Sam. They allow him to turn the protections. It's just, again, game specific stuff. You coach a lot of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't get done, and we know why. We've already talked to about why sometimes that just doesn't happen.
Yeah. So if that's something that he comes out of this game more proficient at based on emphasis and practice, that will be a plus. And we'll see. You live to fight another day. You live to grow another day. You had to win that game. I think there were some meaningful battlefield decisions in that contest, and then you growing from there. But there were going to be some growing pains. That was Exhibit A. I think hopefully you learned something from this film study. Let me emphasize that we do not own this footage.
We don't.
We don't own this footage.
Oh.
This footage was for your entertainment, education, and edification.
I missed that, Sam. I missed that.
The audience. We hope you enjoyed it. We appreciate your contributions, you super chatters out there. Please continue your support. Either you offer your super chats here when you are on our lives, or any way that you can contribute to the cause. You help us go and grow. We appreciate you all the time. Until the next time, maybe we'll come back with another film study sometime.
This was fun, Sam. This was a lot of fun.
Until then, we'll see you around on the next edition of the film study. Whenever that is, certainly on the next edition of the Michigan Football Breakdown, focus on the offense. Thanks a lot for watching. Let's see you again, folks.
Go Blue.